What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another live Ask the Expert, Ask Me Anything, etc. and onward. Hope you guys had a great week. It was incredibly busy here in Southwest Missouri. Of course, it's busy everywhere, but it was good fence building weather. We had clear skies and decent temperatures all week long. We got a lot done, which is a nice feeling. Let's go through and say hello to everybody. Roger was here like 9:45. Now, this guy, every week, he's here. Roger, I appreciate it. Here in waiting says Roger. Martin McCarthy says, hi from San Antonio, Texas. Texas is usually pretty well represented. Usually Florida is as well. We'll see. Brandon, welcome from Utah Deck and Fence. We can get the focus to grab here. For some reason, the picture looks a little dark today. Who knows? Sean King, what is up? Or uo? What's uo, Sean? What's up? Roger's always viewing us. Nah, I guess not always. Maybe Roger travels, but Roger's from the great state of Texas, just outside of Houston. Billy Grove, hello from Pensacola, Florida. Billy's Fencing. Billy, welcome. Appreciate you joining us. There, mark one up for Florida. We got a couple from Texas, one from Florida. Primescape Construction's here from Baton Rouge, Louisiana. Welcome. I guess we should have mentioned Sean King is from Evansville, Indiana. George Castillo is here from Buford, Georgia. Welcome, George. George from Georgia. But that never comes up. Tom Williams, how do I get a metal fence post here in Jacksonville, Florida? If you're a fencing contractor, you can reach out to Master Halco. If you're not a fencing contractor, don't have an account with Master Halco. It depends. So regionally, they're available at Lowe's, Home Depot. I've seen them. They're not available here at Menards, but I've seen others state that they've bought theirs at Menards. So depending on where you're from, here locally, they're available at Lowe's. The 7.5 footers are available at Lowe's, but I've heard other people say that they're not available in their Lowe's. So it seems to vary regionally. But ultimately, if you're a fencing contractor, you can reach out directly to Master Halco and purchase them from them. There's another question up here. Martin McCarthy says, what is the best sprayer to use for sealant? So we use a Graco 395 to spray on stain and sealant. It's an airless sprayer. It goes on really smooth. Doesn't have a ton of overspray. It vaporizes the stain instead of you're dealing with small water droplets instead of big water droplets. Caleb answers that much better than I do, but that's the gist of it. Tom says, I just do my rental properties. Okay, yeah. So Lowe's, Home Depot, Menards. You just want to search Postmaster. There's others out there, right? There's Lifetime Post. Gregory, I think Gregory makes a post. I prefer Postmaster Post. They're the original. They've done the most R&D on the post. The others are kind of I don't want to say copycat, a pretty close second sort of thing. And I know guys that use the other post. And that's absolutely fine. But I like using the original just because they put in the majority of the R&D into the product. Also, they've been using the Postmaster product for a long time. The others manufacturers have gotten in within the last few years. Anyway, Postmaster Plus is where it's at right now. So actually, the Lowe's here locally still has the original Postmasters as well. I prefer the Postmaster Plus. They've got a little bit higher wind load rating. They changed the configuration of the post around a little bit. Chris Steele, what is up? What is up, Chris Steele? High Steel Fence out of Florida, another Florida guy. Welcome, Chris. Appreciate you jumping on with us. Guys, as you're coming in, if you haven't said hello, please say hi. That way we know you're here. It tells me how many people are here, but it doesn't tell me who they are, and I'd sure like to say hi to you. Of course, as you're watching this, be sure to hit that thumbs up button. Roger's usually quick to remind us, so I'm going to jump in before Roger says it. They'll probably say it again. I appreciate that a lot. But if you guys are watching this at home or on your phones, wherever you're watching it, hit that like button. Also, if you haven't subscribed, please hit the subscribe button below if you're watching on YouTube. Makes a big difference. So we're up to roughly 4% of the viewing audience is subscribed. That means 96% of the folks that watch the videos are not subscribed, and that's a crying shame. Now, if you're taking the time out of your Saturday morning to come watch this content, there's a good chance you've already subscribed. And if you have, thank you. I really appreciate it. Legacy Starter, hey, bud, to you too. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Alan Moffat's here with us. Hello, Alan. How are you, sir? Well, guys, there's not a clear agenda for today. Got a couple things on my mind. Talk about insurance. So actually, this came up. Who brought this up? I believe Stephen Kirchner of San Antonio Stain and Seal, or Stain and Seal San Antonio. I'm sorry, it's one of those two. Brought up insurance the other day. We were talking about the rising commodity price of lumber. I think we'll be seeing a spike in lumber prices again here in just a little bit. And they brought up a good point about insurance. So we'll be talking about insurance here in a little bit. Understand that I'm a fence guy, not an insurance guy. So this will be from my perspective, and it isn't legal insurance advice. So let's start there. Insurance advice probably isn't legal anyway, but you get it. I'm a fence guy. So we're going to talk about insurance. Also, I want to introduce you guys to another channel. It's a channel I found over the last week or so. Some guys over in the UK, D&J Productions, or D&J Projects. I'm sorry. These guys, it's dad and son, and they're producing incredibly great content. And this came up. The question came up probably a month ago or so, asking about concrete H posts, and how they worked and all of that jazz. These guys make their own concrete posts. They make their own pre-built panels that slide inside the concrete post. We're probably going to watch some of their videos, or at least one of their videos here in a little bit, because I'd like to introduce you guys to their content. They're really great guys. And then really from there on, it's you guys are in charge of this ship. Tell me where you want it to go. Do we want to talk about business management? Do we want to talk about growing the team? Team members are hard to come by. But what's interesting is a lot of the states, Missouri just announced that they're rescinding the federal portion of the unemployment. So unemployment payments, I believe that was effective as of yesterday, as of Friday. So we'll see. We'll see how that affects the employment market. Let me know where you want this ship to go. I like talking about business management, business marketing, and advertising. I'm a big fan of marketing and advertising. We can go deep into the weeds on that if you guys want to. Like I said, this is a live Ask Me Anything. You guys are steering the ship today. What is up, Logan with Legacy Starter? Hello. It's nice to meet you as well, Logan. Glad you jumped in on the live stream. If you got any questions, you just let me know. Roger says, back in the day, dinosaur times, I remember H column post, junior and senior, and left-handed weave chain link. Okay. H column post. Yeah, so that's basically how these concrete posts are set up is like an H column post, where there's about a 1-inch gap in there, and they just slide the panel in and out of that. I think it makes a lot of sense. And so they're over in the UK, they're over in Nottingham. So Nottingham. I should probably pronunciate a little bit better. So in one of my videos where we were talking about New Zealand, it was a review video of Mitre 10. I had said New Zealand and Australia, but I said Australia, and they were thinking I said Austria. So they're like, American doesn't even know Austria is nowhere near New Zealand. I get it. New Zealand's right off the coast of Australia. I do understand. Tyler, welcome. Checking back in from Racine. What is up, Tyler? Welcome back from the great state, Wisconsin. Sorry. Racine. Yep. How did I just blank on that? Welcome, Mitchell. What is up? Love listening to your show and trying to learn all I can. Mitchell, I like to help you as all I can. What is going on this morning? My brain is gobbledygooked and full. I don't know what's going on here. I love teaching all I can. So that the whole thing today, guys, is you ask questions and I answer them, and I'll take us down a couple paths, insurance and introducing you to D&J, that sort of thing. But if you guys have questions, let me know, and we will certainly get into it. Let's talk about insurance. It's a boring topic, I know, but it's an important topic. It's incredibly important. So Stephen Kirchner brought up, is it last week or the week? I think week before, we were talking about the commodity price of lumber, which, holy cow, if you guys are paying attention to commodity pricings, which you probably should, the commodity price of lumber got super crazy. It peaked out May 7th at like $1,600. So the commodity price of lumber is typically around $300 to $400 about a year ago per 100 board foot or per 1,000 board foot. a year ago. May 7th, it peaked out at $1,600. So quick math tells you about 4 times, right? 4 times the cost of the bulk commodity lumber. Now, bulk commodity lumber is, I don't know how they peg this number or what lumber they peg it to. Is it timber? Is it cedar? Is it pine? Or is it redwood? I don't know. I don't know enough about this, but I know enough to know when you see the commodity price of lumber peak, that's typically when you see the material price peak of pickets and rails, posts, that sort of thing, the things that we deal in. So that got me a little bit concerned. Where they were peaking first part of May was for July deliverables. So they peaked around $1,600, which means for July deliverables, which I think means we're going to see a peak we're going to see a spike in wood pricing probably next month, probably June, I would bet, ahead of the delivered price in July. So the question I was asking is, how do you guys hedge against this, right? And the answer I have, and the answer most people have, is you buy lumber at the current price, knowing that it's probably going up, is likely not going back down anytime soon. So it's a pretty smart hedge. It's a pretty safe bet where you bring in additional lumber. We called up our supplier and said, hey, how many of those Alta boards that we love so much do you have? And they had about 30,000 of them, which sounds impressive until you realize it's about 4 truckloads. So we ordered all we could from them. That's how we hedge against this, right? Is because cedar boards within reason don't go bad, right? So we can hold on to a couple truckloads of boards for 6 months or so, and they're still in good shape. They're still perfectly fine to go install. So by buying them in May, knowing that they're likely going to be more expensive in June and July, kind of our hedge. Now, the question Stephen had, or the point Stephen had, is you'd also better increase your inventory insurance, or else, God forbid, something happens. Now all of a sudden you're underinsured. So underinsured for a few reasons. One, because we're bringing in significantly more inventory than we typically keep on hand. So our insurance, probably like most insurance, renews in January. So January, I believe ours is January the 10th. It renews. So it gives us a couple weeks after the first of the year to get with our broker, get everything figured out, re-sign for the new year. Well, January is historically our lowest inventory time, or lowest time of the year for inventory. We keep the least amount of inventory in January. But that got me thinking. So if we have the least amount of inventory in January and we insured based on our current inventory, we're probably a little bit light on inventory insurance. So I called up, and sure enough, we had a decent amount. But one, like I said, we're bringing on a bunch more inventory. Two, the inventory that we do have is now worth significantly more than when we bought it. So are we insured for replacement cost or current value or face value? So we upped our insurance basically. So it said, hey, listen, we're bringing in a bunch more inventory. B, the inventory we do have is worth significantly more than when we bought it. Let's take a look at our inventory insurance, our insurance on inventory. Now, the way our insurance breaks down inventory is really anything that stays here at the shop. So shop tools, shop equipment, office furniture, and material inventory that we sell or install. Anything that stays on the lot is declared inventory. And that's worth noting. They threw out the inventory number first. I thought, that's probably a bit high for inventory, until they said, hey, listen, this is anything that you use that stays on your lot. So now, tools that go on the truck, equipment that goes on the truck, there's an inland marine policy for that covers any tools that travel. Now, travel is they leave your gates, they leave your property. It could be a mile, could be 100 miles. If they leave your property, it's inland marine. But he said, hey, consider this. This is computers. This is video equipment, lighting equipment, audio equipment. This is all of your welders, your your chop saws, all of your, any tools you use, anything that stays at your lot, doesn't leave, is also included in your inventory. So anyway, long story short, we doubled our inventory insurance. It added something like $40 a year to the total. So not crazy cost wise, but God forbid, should something happen, it would be after we get 4 truckloads of lumber on top of what we already have. it would, it would be the perfect storm. We're also bringing in a significant order of fittings. That way, we've got more fittings on hand. Fitting pricing lately has gotten a bit crazy, a bit out of hand. Last week, actually, so China announced last week that they are rescinding their steel export rebates that they give factories. They give Chinese factories rebates for shipping steel out of the country, not specifically, but typically to the U.S., but it could be elsewhere as well. So all of a sudden, exports out of China, steel exports specifically, got a lot more expensive last week. So, which probably the number one finished product out of China is going to be fittings, going to be steel fittings. So fittings are getting more expensive. We're bringing in a big order of fittings, probably a container, bringing one of those in from somewhere. All that to say, if you're bringing in more inventory to hedge against rising material costs, which I think is a smart play, then also take note that your insurance, make sure your inventory insurance is high enough to cover that. If not, add more to it. It doesn't cost. I was surprised at how little it cost to double our inventory insurance. Martin, you're very welcome. I appreciate you guys joining us. Anthony says, hi, got one post about 1 inch or too short for now. Shoved it down, drilled bolt hole to hold cat thing down. Is there a better way? All right. They've got one post that's about 1 inch too short. I'm not sure, and I'm not sure I understand the question. So the post was too short, so you put a post cap on. We're probably talking about loop line post here. We're talking about a loop top. You drill and put a bolt through to hold the cat thing down. Guys, I'm probably missing something here. If you guys have ideas on this, let me know. An inch or too short. So that would lead me to believe you need to lengthen that post by about an inch, but it sounds like it's too high if you're having to show the cap on. Or no, okay, I see what you mean. So it's an inch short. So if you put your rail, you put your loop tap on, the rail's going to want to pull that cap up. So you drill a hole, put a bolt through it. Probably would work. I would make a 1 inch spacer out of steel and put it in the top of the cap before you put it on, because those caps are typically a couple inches deep at least. That might better serve you, but it sounds like you've got it pretty well figured out. Kev Docs, do you do retaining walls? We do not. We don't do retaining walls at all. We stick with fences. So this is kind of a common question we get, not really about retaining walls, but about, do you do decks? Do you do landscaping? Do you do gate automation? That sort of thing. And we don't. We focus on fence. It's what our trucks are set up for. It's what our guys are trained for. Could we figure it out? Probably, but it wouldn't be the 5-star level of experience that we expect from ourselves. So we stick with what we know. We stick with fencing. Big money right now. Materials are. So I believe this question came in when we were talking about wood. Wood's expensive right now. There's no two ways about it. But when we're looking at the retail cost of lumber, we haven't seen the spike yet from the commodity price run of a couple weeks ago, back on the 7th. Is that a couple weeks ago? That was probably a week ago, actually. Let's look at a quick calendar here. So the 7th was last Friday, ended up at 1,600. So it'll take a few weeks for that to shuffle back through the industry, through the commodities market. Now, since the high of 1,600 has come back to about 1,300 this last week. So it's fallen a little bit, but it's still 1,300 per thousand as compared to 300 to 400 per thousand, which is where it was about a year ago. Now, consider that a year ago, the market was still crazy, right? So May of last year, we were 2 to 3 months into the pandemic. Everywhere was shut down and everyone was panicking. So we're 3 to 4 times higher than where we were during all that nonsense. So factor that in. David White, what is up? Hi, Joe from the UK. Now, David, correct me if I'm wrong. Are you the David White of D&J Projects? If so, we're getting ready to talk about you for a little bit. Chris Steele says, Alta are hard to find for us. Does Halco carry those up there? Yep, that's exactly what we bought, was the Alta, the 1 by 5.5 by 6 foot, so 5.5 inch wide, 6 foot tall Alta board is exactly what we use. They had 30,000 on the lot, and we Bought them all. I mean, are they for sale? Yep. Will you sell them all to me? I don't see why not. Okay. So send them to us. Now, staggered delivery. That way we don't have 4 truckloads show up on Tuesday. But, and then the question came, well, like, what's going on? Well, you get those boards delivered to me and we'll talk about it. But, I mean, they should know. They should know before I know about this, right? But anyway, Alta is what we carry through Master Halco. So interesting conversation that came up with someone within Master Halco about this was so Home Depot carries the Alta boards as well. And I thought, well, now so Home Depot has a cheaper price on Alta boards than you do. And so, well, that's, for now. They're probably running through old stock and they haven't rebought. But we started talking about deliveries. He goes, well, you ought to buy from me anyway instead of a Master Halco or instead of a Home Depot, right? Deal directly with Master Halco. Well, that's fine, but an Alta board's an Alta board, and if I can find it cheaper somewhere else, I'll probably buy it there. And if it's available, it's available. I'll buy it where it's available. Anyway, this conversation went to deliverables. So Master Halco is owned by the same parent company that also owns Alta Lumber. And so what he was saying is because of that relationship, because of the mutual ownership, Master Halco now gets 5 deliveries per every 1 delivery of the Master Halcos in the region, 5 to 1. So they're prioritizing deliveries to Master Halco over Home Depot, just trying to make sure Master Halcos stay in stock. But as you know, Master Halco, it depends which branch you deal with as to whether or not they have lumber available. And it varies. It could vary week to week on which region has the boards in. Also, fun conversation there. Master Halco used to be able to pull from other branches, to pull materials. A couple months ago, they got a memo that they're not allowed to pull from other branches because what was happening was these branches were just trading basically the same load of lumber around between branch to branch to branch. So now when a branch receives a load, that's their load. They cannot transfer it, is how it was explained to me, which is interesting. Roger says, let's back the dollar with lumber, the wood standard in lieu of gold. You could just about do it, right? With the cost of lumber right now. How crazy would that be? So we're going to back the dollar with 4x4x8 pressure treated pine. What a bizarre world that would be. SWI, what is up, Mark Wilson? We could back it with steel too. Yeah, that's no kidding. So you could have a steel standard and a wood standard. Gold standard. No one uses gold. But we do use a lot of lumber and steel, right, fellas? Legacy Star says, I am in Tampa, Florida. Another Florida guy. Hello. And I've been trying to buy Postmaster Post for an 8-foot fence. Is there a Master Halco out of Tampa? There's a Master Halco out of Tampa, but they only supply fence contractors. Any suggestions? That's going to be the thing with Master Halco is that's been their policy for as long as I can remember is they only sell to fencing contractors. Now, if you reach out to Master Halco and say, hey, I'm in Tampa and I'm trying to find these posts, who do you supply that I can buy them from? Typically, they'll tell you who in your market, what fencing contractor in your market sells these posts retail. For example, so we're in Southwest Missouri, nowhere near you, but we sell the same Postmaster posts we install, 8-footers and 10-footers. We sell them retail as well. I have to think, especially in a city the size of Tampa, there's at least 1 or 2 fencing contractors there that also sell retail. Reach out to Master Halco. Let them know the situation. I'm looking to buy, so for an 8-foot fence, you're probably going to want 11-footers, really 11 or 12-footers. I'm looking for these posts. Where can I find them? I want to buy your post, but you won't sell me directly. Who will sell to me? And they should be able to point you in the right direction. Cameron makes the adjust gate, also makes a comparable product to the Master Halco post. You can look into that. Yeah. So, there's the Lifetime post, there's a Gregory post. There's some alternates to Postmasters. Basically, these companies took the Postmaster post, waited for the patent to expire, created a post that was a little bit different, but pretty much the same, and called it their own version of what it is. That's why you had the Postmaster Plus post come out, a little bit different, new patent, that sort of thing. I like to stick with the Postmaster post because it's the original. It has the most R&D. So Master Halco is the one that dumped a ton of money into research and designing this product. The other manufacturer simply came around, found a good product, made it a little bit different, and put their name on it. So I like to reward Master Halco for being the first to the market and putting all the research and design dollars into the product. But To each their own. I completely understand that. John Ridinger says, so I have to replace my fence. I only plan to be in this house 5-ish years. What type of wood should I use for the best resale value? My opinion, now this is going to vary contractor to contractor, probably, right? But here in the Midwest, my choices are treated pine or cedar. I prefer cedar, especially with the price of especially with where the price of pressure treated pine is right now. So the price disparity, my mouth is not working right now. The price discrepancy between pressure treated pine and cedar is probably the lowest discrepancy. The pressure treated pine basically costs what cedar costs. You don't get enough savings, in my opinion, to justify the decrease in value, right? Cedar is a better product. Naturally resist rotten insects, naturally resist warping and twisting. You don't, in previous years, so say 2019 and earlier, there's a pretty decent price difference between a pressure treated pine and a cedar. So you could justify using a pressure treated pine because you were saving quite a bit of money. Now, that's simply not the case. In fact, we buy cedar 2x4x8s cheaper than what we can buy a pressure treated pine 2x4x8, which is bonkers. When we're talking about quality, it's not even close. Pressure treated pine 2x4s, you have to get them up and on structure as quickly as possible because you can sit and watch them bow and twist almost. I mean, day to day, you can watch these things move. So if you're asking me, I understand you're only going to be there for 5 years. I would still when we're talking about resale value, the perceived value that someone looks at this fence, I would put cedar in. I would also stain and seal it. We're sponsored by Stain and Seal Experts, so of course I'm going to recommend their product. It's a product I use and I really enjoy using. There are others out there. We have several videos talking about the difference between a water-based and an oil-based sealant. I would recommend staining and sealing it, either yourself or with a contractor. And the reason being, you're going to want to sell that thing in 5 years. You want it looking as close to brand new as possible. So rather than just let it go gray and show its age, I'd recommend staining and sealing it so that it looks great when you're going to sell it. Chris Steele said, didn't know that. Our local Halco branch has the right wood plus pickets, which looks similar. Interesting, Chris. I haven't heard of Right Wood Plus, but each region is going to obviously be different. It's going to have its own differences, and it could be that this Right Wood Plus is a similar product to the Alta and is more readily available. Very possible. Lacey says, I've tried Home Depot and Lowe's. Both said that they would reach out to Master Halco and get back to me. That hasn't gotten anywhere. It's been a week. Interesting. So again, this is going to vary region to region. I know here locally, Lowe's does sell the Post. They do, and they're the Postmaster Post, so they're not the Postmaster Plus. So they're probably still working through an old inventory of those posts. The Postmaster Plus posts have been out, probably a couple years now. I would think a year and a half, maybe something like that. So they might be working through an old stock from the regional supply yard. But reach out to Master Halco directly. Tell them what you're trying to do. Ask them, who do I buy these things from? I'd sure like to use your post if I can find them. Let them do the work for you. Master Halco, Cincinnati, Ohio, can't keep them in stock. That's absolutely the truth. So we deal with Master Halco in Kansas City, and it's much the same way, really, with a lot of things. Whether we're talking about, now we buy quite a bit from them as far as pickets, rails, some fittings, some framework, depending on what it is. But it goes that way. It goes that way for a lot of the products that, either they've got a lot of it or they've got none of it. And those two things could flip flop week to week. They could have a ton of it this week. Somebody buys the majority of it. Next week, they don't have any, and they're waiting for their next delivery from the supply or from the regional supply yard. Yep. Howdy, Mark. I agree, Roger. All right. It is Dave from D&J Projects. Sorry, David. D&J Projects. You guys do need to watch your channel. So, David, I sent you guys an email to your company email, and now it came from Joe at thefenceexpert.show. It's a little bit weird of an email address, so it might have been sent to spam. How will we do this? I'll tell you what. So I'll just go back in one of the comments. You and I have had conversations in your comments. I'll go drop my email address in there. And actually, let me do this. Probably easier than that. I'll drop it right here in the comments below. So guys, this is my email address. This is actually for anybody. Specifically, I'd like to talk to David about getting a live set up with him and his son, Steven. All right. So David, let's talk about this for a second. So Steven calls himself Stevie a lot on the channel. I want to make sure I'm not calling him Stevie when we're talking. I'm not calling him Steven until I hear differently. But so guys, this is my email address. If you guys have questions, comments, etc., email me at joe@thefenceexpert.show. Thefenceexpert.com was taken. So I tried reaching out to them directly to try to get that email address, and no one responded. So we're left with thefenceexpert.show. All that saying, David, I'd love to get a hold of you to schedule a live with you and Steven. I think that would be amazing. Okay, so we'll call him Stevie. I just wanted to be sure. Stevie, not Steven. Understood. I agree. Yeah, I definitely want you guys both there. So, guys, for those of you out there that are just watching this and you're not David or Steven, these are the guys at D&J Projects. Please, we're gonna play a video from theirs here in a minute, and you guys will understand exactly why I'm saying this. Guys, go watch this channel. These guys are putting out a lot of great content. I understand what it takes to create this content behind the scenes. For every minute of footage, there's like an hour worth of work. These guys are producing great content. You should go watch them for sure. David, I look forward to having a live with you guys very soon. Anthony said, loop top. Okay. So Anthony, was securing a loop top. You can secure it with a bolt. I would probably put a 1-inch spacer inside that cap and then place it on. Should be totally fine. But it would look a little bit nicer, be a little bit more of a finished look. But what you've done also works as well. Okay, so Master Halco gave you a contact, but they do not sell retail. That, guys, that's kind of a confusing thing too, and it's common that fence guys don't sell retail. I don't really see a reason not to sell retail. The retail license, at least here in the state of Missouri, is relatively easy to get a hold of. I don't even know. I think it's a fee. Like, I really don't even think it's that much. It's really not a hassle. You have to register with the state. You have to collect sales tax. So there are some moving pieces of this, but there's absolutely no solid reason not to sell retail. We enjoy it a lot. Oh, well, so apparently Kansas City's out of Alta boards too. Okay. Well, Chris, if you need some, let me know. I didn't really know I bought all of the boards they had. They probably have obviously other people bought boards there too. We've got a few truckloads moving their way here. If you need some, let me know. We can arrange transport. I don't know how that works, but I was telling Cannon the other day, what's mine is yours. We'll figure out whatever I paid for them is whatever I'll charge you. I don't want to make a penny off of it, but if you get in a bind, let me know. Tampa said they're all back ordered. So, this is happening, pretty much everywhere throughout the United States, whether we're talking about the Postmaster Posts or whether we're talking about Alta pickets, everywhere is out of everything, it seems like. And as soon as one branch gets an order, all the fencing contractors talk to each other and say, hey, just got a call from so-and-so at Master. They said they've got these. I got my order in. You go get your order in. And then they're sold out, pretty quickly. Home Depot has lousy stock on fencing. So that's interesting. I drove by the Home Depot here in Springfield, Missouri. These guys are absolutely stocking lumber to the ceiling. Now, it's priced accordingly. It's incredibly expensive, but the entire back wall of this store on the outside is stacked with lumber. Now, not all of it's fencing. I'm sure a lot of it's other stuff too, but Home Depot in our region seems to be pretty adequately stocked for now. You never know. Chris is letting Legacy know. Do know Tampa's out of stock on 10 and 11 foot Postmasters right now. Should have more in July or August. Isn't that crazy? It's May, and we're talking about restocking in July and August. Absolutely nuts. John, I'm here in Springfield, Missouri, Southwest Missouri. Been here 24 years, 25 years. Something like that. I was in North Carolina before that. I was born just outside of Raleigh, North Carolina. How are the new employees doing? Honeymoon phase over for them. So I tell you what, I'm going to knock on wood, cross my fingers, do all the good luck stuff. These guys are doing really well. They are. So, we're still only a couple weeks in, right? So the honeymoon, we might still be in the honeymoon phase. But both of these guys, well, all three of the guys. So one of the guys I don't have as much contact with. He's on the wood installation crew. So I see them a couple times a day. The other two guys are here on site. I see them more throughout the day. Both those guys are self starters. Actually, I had their I was talking with their supervisor just about kind of a general evaluation. We'll do an actual 1 month evaluation here at the end of the month. Last Wednesday of the month is when we have our all hands meeting. We do some organizing. We do team building stuff. So last Wednesday of this month is when we'll have our actual, conversation, analysis, and all that evaluation. But they're doing really well. Self-starting. What can I do next? Going out and finding their own stuff to do, which is nice, and following directions. I mean, what more could you want, right? And they show up early. Like I don't know what I've done to deserve this, but I really appreciate it. So as of right now, they're doing good. I appreciate the question. Good callback on that. Norangito? I really think I botched that, and I apologize. Just put up a cedar fence a couple weeks ago. When should I stain or seal it to keep it looking new? If it's all cedar, meaning if the post rails and pickets are all cedar, right now we actually pre-stain cedar materials before they even go in. As long as it's all cedar, you can stain it right away. Now, if any of the portions of that, so sometimes we'll see cedar pickets installed with treated pine rails and posts. If that's the case, so 2 weeks ago, you'll want to give that structure a bit longer to cure out. What I would suggest is jump on Amazon and buy a moisture meter. They're $20, $25 maybe. They have two prongs. They go into the wood that you're wanting to measure, and they'll measure the moisture content. You're looking for anything below 12% moisture content. But like I said, if it's cedar and it hasn't rained recently, it's ready to go right now. David Strain says, how far away do you need to set your fence from the property line? This is probably also going to vary regionally. If you're asking me, my opinion, typically we stay 8 to 10 inches, 6-inch minimum, 8 to 10 inches, just to be totally safe. The reason being, I don't want any part of that fence, i.e. the concrete around the post, to encroach on the neighbor's property. It's a little thing. It's incredibly nitpicky, but I've seen, not in our market, but I've seen in other markets where that becomes an issue, that the post used to install the fence encroached on the neighbor's property, and it turned into a thing. Now, there are bigger issues with those properties, I feel sure. There's more to that argument than just the fence, but 8 to 10 inches, 6-inch minimum inside the property line. That's if one homeowner is paying for it and the other one isn't participating. If both homeowners are participating, then it's a conversation between those homeowners. They can talk it out and decide where they want this fence installed because they're both participating in the cost of the fence. A lot of times they'll go on the property line. Totally up to them. If one homeowner is paying for it, 8 to 10 inches, 6-inch minimum is where my comfort level's at. David, I can't wait to get this done. Christopher Coon says, my daughter lives in Springfield. No way, Christopher. All right. It's a great market. We like it. I'll tell you the story of how we wound up in Springfield. So at the time of this story, we were living just outside Raleigh, North Carolina. My dad had an executive position with a company called United Cerebral Palsy. He's executive director of United Cerebral Palsy. So they dealt with helping those that had cerebral palsy and their families make the best of what they had, right? So whether it's group homes, telethons for raising money, therapy, that sort of thing is what they did. So, but my dad got to the point where they needed to promote him to somewhere else to make room for a younger guy to come into that job. So he could have either moved to Washington or just outside Washington, D.C. to be on the legislative arm. Oh, give me just a second. So he could have moved outside of Washington, D.C. to be in the legislative arm, or outside Dallas, Texas, to be a part of the more like their corporate headquarters, right, to run the corporate headquarters. And the conversation at that point was, so I was 12, which means one sister would have been 9. The other sister would have been, gosh, I'm horrible. Would have been 3, 4, 5, something like that. Young family. And so my dad thought, well, if we get our pick, outside Washington D.C. is probably not a great area for a young family. At the time, there was some there there was some concern about the Dallas area wasn't super safe at that point, at least from my. Now, listen, you're also asking a guy to remember what was going on when he was 12, but for whatever reason, neither one of those options seemed like a great place to relocate a young family to. And I'll tell you what happened. And I am a firm believer in everything happens for a reason. I don't know if you call it karma. I don't know if you call it fate, whatever. I believe in it. So we would always come back to Springfield for Christmas. All my dad's family, my mom's family, they all lived here in the Springfield, Missouri area. So that's kind of weird. Got a little laggy there. So it's storming incredibly right now. So maybe that's part of this problem. Anyway, we came back for Christmas. And at the Christmas table, I'll never forget, my granddad, who owned this company at the time, owned Ozark Fence at the time, he said, well, I've got something to say. So I'm going to sell Ozark Fence. I'd like to sell it to one of you, speaking to my dad and his siblings. I'd like to sell it to one of you, but if you guys aren't interested, I'm going to sell it to somebody else. I'm done. So that night at the hotel, my mom and dad said, hey, this is exactly what we're talking about. We've been looking for the last month or two. We've been talking about what we're going to be doing and where we're going to go. This seems like the right move. Everything happens for a reason, right? So my dad bought the business from my granddad, and we loaded up a couple U-Hauls, actually one U-Haul and a van, and we drove from Raleigh, North Carolina, Springfield, Missouri, been here ever since. So, Christopher, I think it's a great market. Yeah. Small world, though. Where are you watching from, Christopher? It'd be interesting to know. Fish and Picking, Joe, do your team members know you're YouTube famous? Well, YouTube famous is a bit of a different term. I don't know that I'm YouTube famous, so do they know? No. Now, do they see me walking around with a camera, filming myself doing crazy stuff? Well, not crazy stuff, but filming myself talking to fences? Yep. They got that introduction. What did we do? It was a week ago. We were doing a video that you guys will see probably here in the next month or so on chain link, what chain link fittings are needed to install a fence, that sort of thing. And so it was me and Jeremy, the videographer, and a camera out in the middle of our lot. And it was me talking to a fence post and some chain link fence. And got that kind of, what in the world is this guy doing look? And we had to explain to him, well, it's for YouTube. So anyway. Joe, I found a fence building video you should check out on YouTube, converting my chain link fence to a stone wall. I don't know if I should like it or wonder if it's cracked up and still standing. Let's check it out. So I'm going to put that in the queue here of videos that we're going to watch. Hey, Macy's here. Macy, come on over. Say hello. Come on up. If you walk into the YouTube studio, you get to come say hello. Come on over. Macy, say hello to the good people. Hi. Good people. It's my daughter, Macy. Macy comes up with me occasionally on Saturdays, do some cleanup, getting ready for summer camp, right? So Macy's going to sit here and watch with us. Macy, you can actually grab this chair right here if you want to. Hang out with me for a little bit. Okay. Okay. All right. Good deal. Okay. So what we're doing right now is we're going to watch. First, guys, what I want to watch is one of D&J's projects because I think it's incredibly interesting as a fence guy. Okay, projects. All right. Now, again, guys, I'm a fence guy. I'm not a tech guy, but I think we're getting this figured out. Let me see if we get this to focus, get the camera to focus here. Okay. So we are going to do picture in picture on. Nope, that's not right. There we go. All right, guys. So this is D&J Projects right here. Now, of course, we're already subscribed. We've already rung the bell. You guys subscribe and ring that bell as well. I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. Oh, I need to turn the comment off. All right. So let's get down here. Which one should we watch? Okay, so this one, this one's a good one. So I've obviously already watched it. We're going to go back. How do we do this? We're going to put a microphone right here by it. We're going to turn microphone 1 on. Hopefully you guys will hear this.
And the look of stone, and we were familiar with the new brick. So
looks like you guys can hear it. Let me know if you can.
I'm Dave. I'm Stevie. I'm Dad. And I'm Son. Welcome to another episode, D&J, episode 7. What's up, guys? Welcome back to another video. Massive thank you to everyone showing us support. Our subscribers are flying, absolutely flying. Over 4,200 subscribers right now. It's madness, and we're very much.
So this was
green waste, green waste.
I meant to pause it.
Job. But anyway, guys, like I said.
So they're over 10,000 subscribers now, and this was done just a few weeks ago. This channel's growing like crazy because, as you guys will see, like I said, it's really well done.
We've got some decking as well on one of the fencing jobs that we're going to be doing. So we're going to crack on with that and bring you guys along for that. And that'll probably be around about midweek, Wednesday time that we'll start filming that. Also as well, guys, in the last video, there seemed to be 1 million ads. Someone has commented about the amount of ads. I can't lie, guys. Me and my dad do not put them ads in.
So that's kind of the aggravating part of having a newer channel is that you have absolutely no control over how many ads get put on your videos, where they get put on, anything like that. You actually on newer channels actually don't get monetization either. So now that David and Stevie are over 10,000 subscribers, I'm sure they've probably got the minutes. Now they start having a little bit more control. But when this video was shot, they had 4,000 subscribers. So YouTube does not give you the option of how many ads to put in and where to put them. It's incredibly frustrating because some of the videos, I get this feedback on mine as well. You know, hey, this video is unwatchable because of the amount of ads. I get it, and I'm sorry, but newer, younger channels don't have the ability to say, I only want one ad. Here's where I want it, that sort of thing. These guys have no control. And anyway, it is frustrating for sure.
We had no idea how many ads there would be. We do apologize for there being so many. We will try and look into that and try and reduce the amount of ads sort of thing. When me and my dad started this YouTube channel, we intended this purely for the fun and to look back in, say, 5 years' times and see what jobs me and my dad were doing back in the day. We never intended for this to make any money. Obviously, the subscribers shot up. The views shot up with that. YouTube then basically puts you into a partner program and you can start making a little bit of money from YouTube. So we will try and look in to shortening the amount of ads because we don't want you guys having to sit there watching all the ads or skipping them anyway.
That's absolutely the truth. Is what Stevie's absolutely preaching here. And that, you know, as a content creator, like it is in my best interest, it is in their best interest to have you guys watch as much of the video as you want to and not get ran off by having to sit through ads. It's not something that we, as a YouTube viewer, watcher, I don't enjoy ads either. I don't want to put a ton in my videos, but a lot of times it's outside our control.
I don't even know how that works. If you guys watch them, do we make more money? If you skip them, do we make the same amount of money? I don't know how it works. We just appreciate you guys being here all the time. So thank you again for that, people. We really do appreciate it. Anyway, enough of me rambling on about all this. Let's get this van loaded up with the fencing gear, get all the tools on, and head our way to that next job. As you can see, guys, me and Jack are just loading up for the fencing job now. Going to grab a few more panels, as you can see.
Check out that inventory of panels on hand, especially with the cost of lumber right now. Subtle flex. I like how they have all this under roof too. Really nice setup.
Always stocked up here at D&J. Got plenty more around the corner as well. We're going to take 10 of these.
David, I'm jealous of your shop setup. Absolutely. I watch it and I just get envious as you and Stevie do shop tours through here. Unbelievable.
And then come back for a few more, just so that we're not overloaded on that van. So we're all loaded up now, guys. You can probably see through the back window. We've got a few panels on there as well. Me and Jack are going to drive to the job now, set you guys up for a time lapse, a little bit of music. But before we do that, I want to say a massive thank you for everyone showing us support again. It really does mean a lot, guys. I know I bang on about it a lot, but it really does mean a lot to me, my dad, my mum, all of the family and the D&J team. So thank you guys for that.
As a son that works with his dad, I really enjoy watching this content. Stevie looks a little bit younger than I am, so maybe a little bit different point in, the father-son relationship there, but it's definitely great to watch their interaction.
Every time I do a light goal, we smash it out of the water. So I'm going to be a bit adventurous with this one and aim for 400 likes. If we can hit that, that'll be absolutely amazing.
They smashed that.
I don't know what I did with that hand gesture there, but let's aim for 400 likes, and we'll catch you when we get to the job, guys.
All right, I'm going to skip around a little bit here.
And then that spur post, get another 2 to 3 bays in.
Turn down a little bit for you guys. I think it might be a little bit loud on your guys' end.
$1 billion solar panels. They're a new generation of super powerful solar panels that was.
I don't know what it is, but I get this at all the time.
Dollars of investment in.
Really need to get down to that corner today. Can't really be not getting that done. Need to get to that corner. In an ideal world, we would have loved to have got across there, but I don't think that'll be happening today. But positive mindset. Come on, we can get these spur posts out. We've got the breaker, we've got the hand tools, and we've got the wheel. So we're going to crack on with this now. I might set you guys up for a time lapse. You might be able to see how hard and how much of a struggle it is for us. So I think I will do that. I'll set you up for a time lapse. Let's get cracking on.
All right, so we've got a concrete post here. A concrete post they make in-house, which is really interesting. This is what they call a gravel board. So here in the States, we see a similar process in the southern United States where they'll put a pressure-treated pine board, and they'll call it a rot board. They're on the bottom to keep the boards from rotting. In the UK, Dave and Stevie the market calls it a gravel board. That way they can put landscaping up against it and not worry about wicking into the wood. Nice touch. So this is me and my dad sat and watched these videos for a while, watching the installation process. It's interesting to see how different areas install fences. So they're installing this as they go. And so, David, for a reference, when we build a fence currently in our market, you would set your post first, and then you'd come back 2 days later after concrete's cured. But we're building everything onto the post. So whereas your guys' panel slide in the middle, we nail onto we use wood post, nail onto the post, that sort of thing. So it's interesting to watch D&J install this in real time. So they've got their panel up, they've got the gravel board up, and that tells them exactly where this post needs to go, and then they'll set it in place.
Not bad. Just needs to go up ever so slightly with a bit of post creep. So rather than putting soil at the bottom of the post and lifting it up and having the right height, we like to put a little bit of post creep underneath the post. So when it's wet, it sets at that height rather than sits on soft soil and drops over time. So Big J's just taking out some of the old breeze blocks that are there, just down there. There's some there, look, some at the house, and then some right there. I'm not too sure what they were doing before, like a bit like a makeshift gravel board. We've got that post to take out now with a spur post. Just got to level off a bit of the soil, hide a few of the gaps underneath, obviously make it nice and pretty for the customer. But so far, it ain't looking too shabby. I know this one's been a bit of a ball ache, but when you start to see the finished product taking shape, it is always nice, and it is worth the effort that you're having to put in to get it done.
Let me know if you need anything.
Big J's getting that one out now. As you can see, just using a grafter to get them out, and then we can get the breaker onto that spur post and start smashing it away and hopefully get it out nice and easy. So this is the concrete we're trying to break through, guys. Look how blue and strong.
It's also interesting to see how concrete differs region to region, country to country.
That is. It's unreal. If you've ever tried to break through this yourself, guys, you know what we're saying. It's been a crazy one, this has, but it ain't looking too shabby. It's looking pretty good. Just got a post to put in there now. We're going to measure the hole like we've shown you guys before with a tape measure and get that cut. Get a post in there, and then we've got one more spur post, and then I'm thinking that bit is going to be nice and easy.
Well, those are famous last words. When I was on a crew, I remember anytime one of the new guys came on, they're like, you know what? This doesn't seem so bad. It always went bad. Famous last words. You never say something looks easy.
I know I shouldn't say that.
Okay, there you go.
But I'm praying to the gods out there, whoever is out there, just to give us a couple easy ones for the rest of the day, please. I'm not feeling too much, guys.
How many of you guys have said that prayer before? Please, just a few easy ones and send us home.
Because we're on a little bit of a roll, it feels like, anyway. Got a hole ready. Got the tape now. You guys know the score. Measure the gap. See where the post finishes on the collar. Cut off the post. Don't waste your time dropping a post in and having a skyscraper up here above the panel. Just cut the post if you can. Not looking too bad, though. In comparison to what was there, all falling over, I'd say it ain't looking too shabby. Nice drops, nothing too crazy. Get that post in and get that next bay in.
Check that out.
Not too shabby. Just this one to go in here now. I think that might be it for the day.
Let me skip ahead a little bit because they run into an issue that a lot of us in the fencing industry have.
It's worth the aggro that we've had to go through. It's looking smart, I must say.
This is a nice looking fence.
Anyway, so this is the plan. 7 foot bays going in there. So a 7x5 and a 7x1 smooth gravel board. We're back to hitting that nasty blue concrete.
Now, if you guys notice, it says 7x5 and 7x1. The biggest, I don't want to say the most flack I received, but the one of the most common pieces of feedback I got when on the New Zealand and Australia videos are that, well, the Americans are using the imperial instead of the metric. They need to get on the metric system. Silly Americans aren't using. They're still using feet and inches. Well, guess what? The boys at D&J are using feet also. 5 and 1, 5 foot and 1. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. As soon as I saw that, someone else is using imperial measurements. That's not in America, not in the United States. Blasphemy. I try to figure out metric, and I understand. I get it. What is it? I don't know. There's some calculations you can do in your head to do the conversion between metric and feet. 2.5 meters or 2 meters is 6.5 feet. I was schooled on that on the meter 10 video. I get it. But it's not something that we're taught as kids, and it puts my brain in a pretzel trying to do the feet to meter conversions, the imperial to metric conversions. Anyway, I thought that was pretty unique when I saw that the guys are using D&J over in UK are still using imperial measurements rather than metric. Macy, quick question. Come on over. I got a question. Come here. Hey, you come up here. You'll be prepared to get on the camera. Come on over. All right. Come. You can stand. All right. How many feet are in a meter?
I don't know.
It's not taught in school, right?
No, it's not.
The metric system, right? That's the same boat I'm in. I don't. When I was watching a video, I was doing a review video. The fence was 2 meters tall, or just under 2 meters tall. I don't know how long how many feet a meter is, so I really don't know how to compare that. Anyway. Yep, Google's right. So anyway, like I said, interesting to see someone outside the States using imperial measurements.
So I've got to dig a hole there for the 8-foot corner. And then this side's going to 4 foot total. Where the spur posts are, I've just snapped one off here and cut it out of the way because our post finishes around about here. So hopefully I can spend 10 minutes here instead of an hour. Same goes to that one. It's going to fall roughly around there. So we'll just snap that one off at the floor, out of sight, out of mind. But me and Big J are going to start doing some prep work for this, get that 8-foot corner in. Yes, we will have to go back to the yard at some point to get a gravel board and a panel. We'll sort that out when we need to get it done. So we're just going to put a post in and work our way back up to that tree over there because we're just putting 3 bays in across there at 4 foot total. So we're going to crack on with this prep work. Hopefully get that 8-foot in relatively soon. And I'll keep you guys updated as usual. Look at Big J, bringing all the materials round. I'm not even asking him to do anything.
Big J.
That's the sort of guy that we like at D&J. Uses his initiative and gets stuff
I'm going to try to skip ahead to the issue they have with the neighbor. Actually, I want to show this truck real quick. So they call this a grabber truck.
Also having a few bags off.
How cool is that? So it's a flatbed truck, cab over truck, that has its own like grabber crane built onto it. Is that cool or what? That's really neat. I don't know that I've seen anything like this in the States. Macy, have you seen anything like this? Like running around town? No. Okay. She's eating. What is she eating? Eating cereal. Good grief.
Those ton bags. So I think my dad's plan is for him to fly back to the yard now, and then he'll bring those bags back. I'll be heading back to the yard as well. My van is just behind me. I'll probably
such a cool piece of equipment
for another hour, last hour of the day, and I'll leave you guys in the capable hands of my dad. Working 9 to 5. Oh wait, 7. What a way to make a living. Working 9 to 7.
You're not putting that in.
I have.
Right, we've got 20 bags of pastry and a ton of ballast. We're going to drop them off at this location. It's not too far from where we live, so I've took a van home, and then I'll take a van back in the morning, and then we'll be signing the video out. That's a wrap for me and Steve at D&J. We'll see you in the morning. Nice and early.
I'm going to try to skip ahead to the problem with the neighbor.
And here you go. You see this little device right here? Well, I'm going to show you something right now. Now, some people are right.
It's concrete. His orders fails.
I'm trying to pause it right. So guys, you can kind of see how these concrete posts are built like an H post, with a channel right there to where the panel slides down in it. It's such a great concept. This can't. Okay, so I get it, but I get it. I probably do. All right. So anyway, so the panel slide down in here, guys. Go watch. Like I said, please go follow D&J. They're making great content, and when you do, jump in the video section. They've got Stevie's got some videos of him, or at least a video of him making one of these panels by hand. Incredible to watch. They actually have a what do they call it? A panel pro or a panel master, an automated system of building these panels. Pretty slick. But yeah, so the concrete post. I like the idea of concrete post. They're not going to rot, warp, or twist, right? So something that we're going to think about. Now, it is definitely a much different looking fence than what we typically see here in the States, also specifically in our market. But if we could get it to catch on, these fences last forever. They've got to. I mean, not forever, but you get it. So we saw the neighbor over here. So we just saw the neighbor over here have a few words with Stevie, and then she comes right around the fence. I think we know where this is going.
No, we have not gone back in time. We've had to take those ones out. All that graft that me and Big J Jizzle have been doing today
Jizzle
has gone straight.
He's got the best names. Big J, J Dizzle.
Down the pan because of Sergeant Major next door.
That is such a great name, Sergeant Major. New code word for that neighbor is Sergeant Major. Like, not that neighbor specifically, but we all know that neighbor, Sergeant Major.
Wasn't happy. So we're having 6 foot across the back now and 6 foot across the side.
So they had to take that out, read it, and keep in mind they cut the posts, right? So the posts are already cut to height. Had to take those out.
It's a shame. It's a damn shame. But it saves our customer from getting it in the neck later down the line.
What's good for the customer, it's good for the contractor. I get it, but still.
So we're going to turn them to 6s now, get everything changed. As you can see, holes are pretty much dug for 2. Just got to continue digging that one. And then we will continue with this fencing. As you've probably just seen in the background, my dad's arrived now. Just setting up a few levels for the decking so we can at least try and get the decking done as well. Just thought I'd update you guys. We'll crack on now and I'll show you guys a little bit later where we've got to. So
I want to show you guys the
all
finished
prepped up
product
now for the new fencing that's going to be going there at war with the neighbours. I think they will be happy with how that's turned out. Decking's coming along nicely as well, just over.
That is a very nice fence.
I'm so fat. Brendan, you're not fat. It's the shirt. Look at Nate. His true classic.
The halfway there.
Look at that, guys. That is a great looking fence.
We're going to have a little bit of a later one as well to try and get this done.
Oh, here comes the
and then
blocks.
This garden transformation, fencing and decking wise, is complete.
Morning, YouTube. It's Saturday. Me and Stevie didn't do no filming yesterday. We had a haircut, but it was super busy here. Want no time. Quick update on the swans.
She's still on the nest.
How cool is that? They've got swans.
The one's nowhere to be seen.
So, what we're doing today? We are increasing the wall to retain the.
So they make these what they call Lego blocks, which apparently Lego or the company that owns Lego doesn't like that. So Lego type blocks out of concrete. They make their own concrete. They've got a concrete machine, which is also an incredible insight there. But yeah, so they make these blocks and they're going to keep their landscaping materials in. Not landscape, but the concrete materials. What else? What does he call it? Sharp sand, ballast. No, the swans were just there. So they've got a creek that runs behind their product. The question was, did they buy the swans or were they just there? They have a creek behind, I forget what they call creeks, but they have a creek behind their shop, behind their yard, and the swans made a nest there. Very cool.
So, we've nearly done this one. This side. So we've got a few more blocks to put down there. And then what we're going to do, put another row on top, come down here, step it down, and then go across that way, or across there and yonder.
These blocks are substantial. They are very good size. I like the pyramid tops there. That way, like Lego, they lock together. Gives you nice stability for sure.
Over that bit to retain all that soil and everything else. So this is what we used to do. We used to use gravel boards and posts and stuff. We just catch them and flick them up like that. These are a lot better. Take a bit more room up, but I don't think we're going to be able to flick these out. Well, I hope the lads aren't going to be able to flick these out.
I'll have a good go.
It's going to have a go. So, yeah, that's what we're doing today. We'll put these in and show you how it looks like after. As you see, we've got a few more blocks in. I had to put a little tiny layer of sand down there just to bring it up a little bit. There's one in the mould now. We'll pop that. So that Monday, that'll go there. But yeah, it's looking all right. And then we're going to make a few half blocks. There's a half block to go there. And there'll be half blocks to go on the ends. But yeah, looking good.
So we're actually going to make a bay like this. So after watching these videos, I had an aha moment. We're going to make a bay, probably not this big, but we've got, I don't know what, David, I don't know what you guys would call it. It's similar. We just call it sand. So they have like sharp sand and ballast sand. They've got different types of sand. We pretty much just have one sand here in the States as far as, I don't know. We get a load of sand, limestone sand, and where we fill bags with it, sandbags for our concrete or for our construction panels. Anyway, we have a big pile of sand. The problem is that pile of sand, it likes to run away with the rain. So we tarp it, but then the wind blows the tarps. It's a whole process, right? So we're gonna make one of these bays. We've got blocks like this here in the States for like highway construction. They're similar to this. So I know a company, pre-stressed concrete company, or precast concrete company that makes those highway ones. So we're gonna make a sand bay after watching the good guys at or blokes at D&J.
Good. Looking really good. Right, the plan is now, just put a bucket full. We're going to fill the back in with a bit of soil along this back. So when the lads are pushing up against this wall with a new machine, they don't push the blocks over. Plus, it gets rid of some of our crap as well. Just come back.
See, look. There's one of the swans. We don't have swans here. I mean, we have swans in the States, but just not here in Missouri. So it's neat to see swans just like hanging out. They look so nice. At the zoo, yeah.
Over. And they're off the nest.
They're kind of like flamingos. Like there are places in the States that have them. We just don't get to see them, especially not just right off the lot. You would come to work all the time if you got to go watch swans. We'd never get her out of here.
See the eggs.
That's so cool. Now we've got geese, but geese are different than swans. Geese are mean and annoying. They're just kind of hateful. The geese we've got, they're not we as this company, but they are around here. Geese are. Yeah, very annoying, very mean. Would not recommend. Yeah.
I see, guys. Just filling the back in now. Just leveling it off. I'll show you around the other side. Jordan and Quinn are just leveling that off.
Backfilling it. Makes sense.
So we'll get this leveled, then we'll show you the finished result. As you can see, guys, there's still quite a bit more soil we can get up here. So we're going to bring the digger up and fill it and level it off with the digger. All the way down. And then it'll be ready for when the next set of blocks go on top of this. And we build along there as well. And we build that one out. And then it's start the bays across there, where the soil screener is, and across there, making them a bit better. So then, guys, that's a wrap for Saturday, the end of the week. It's been a good week. Like to
it's good to see other contractors out there on Saturdays.
Congratulate Daniel Kennedy for winning £1,000. I transferred that.
Now, my understanding is Nottingham is 6 hours ahead, so we're in their evening now. But the boys at D&J have been building fence all day, I'm sure.
Over to him. He's from Ireland, so yeah, big up all the people in Ireland. It's been a busy one this week. We've had some ups, we've had some downs.
Where are they building? Where? Here? They're building base for their
We've
materials.
Had a fresh haircut and all. Look at that. Cheers, JP and Arnold, Nottingham. Big shout out to him if you want your hair doing. Get booked in with them. Sharp. We're back Monday being bank holiday, and like Daniel from Astral says, we don't work in a bank, so we don't have them off. See you on Monday, guys.
We we've got that here in the States. We've got several holidays that the banks take that us contractors don't take. Flag days and the like. So guys, D&J Projects, incredible channel. Please go check them out. They've got lots of great videos. Let's see. The thumbnails on point. I like watching Stevie and David, the father and son interaction. They obviously get along really well. That is awesome to see. I mean, they go through how to install a fence from start to finish. Great content here, guys. Please go check them out. All right. Let's do this and this. Now we're back. What's that? Go ahead and mute mic 1. There we go. Bingo. Got a little production assistant here now. We're not giving you the mic. No, not giving you the mic. So let's catch up on some comments here, guys. Okay. All right. Primescape Construction. Like you, we don't install a lot of vinyl fence, so we're not efficient at it as we'd like. All of a sudden, I have 1,500 feet to do, and I'm looking at Mr. Fence Sure Set Echo to speed up process. Okay. Mr. Fence, Sean King, is up to some really good work over there. So looking to him for advice is absolutely the right idea. I can't find video demonstration. Are you aware how it works? Sure Set Echo. I'm not. I'm not familiar with what Sure Set Echo is. Sean, if you're here, we could absolutely chat about what Sure Set Echo is and the best way to run it. This is exactly what I thought. So I'm glad we got to chat about this. The email is in the junk folder because it's a weird looking email address. As soon as Stevie's back, I have a chat and pop you an email back. I look forward to that for sure. Roger says, I'm waiting to see Ozark Fence Yard on the successful Contractor channel. Intent, Mark? Yeah, so we did a video here on the yard. I think it's just kind of like a normal construction yard. Yeah, Mace? It's just kind of a normal construction yard. But, if you guys want to see it, Mark's got the video. I'll check it out. I think it's the next video coming out. We'll be watching. The Successful Contractor. I believe that's right, Mark, right? The Successful Contractor channel. Thumbs up to Mark. Yeah, so this is the thing. We have no ad control. We have ads turned off, but Google still puts them in there. Google owns YouTube, so you still get that. It's frustrating. It really is, right? We want people to watch the videos. We want them to watch as much as they feel comfortable or they want to without having ads run them away. Chris wants to know, when can we get Pops on the show? Pops is not like a huge technology fan. What do you think, Mace? What are the chances of Papa coming on the show? Very slim. I mean, we'll ask. We can ask. Maybe my hat always bugs me on here. I see myself in there, and I'm like, that has. Anyway, maybe we have Macy ask Papa.
Why me?
Because he listens to you.
Well, he listens to you also.
Now, when I ask him, he's like, I got fence stuff to do, and I don't have time for your YouTube video business. Yeah. Roger says, I wish I understand the metric system better. Far superior. I agree. Take a measurement and cube it, fill it with water. You also have a weight. Nice. Agreed. Fish and Penguin wanted to know, is there rebar in the post? And David said, yes, there is. So it's interesting. We can sit here and watch all their videos. They're all good. They had a video showing them making the gravel boards. So they've got 3 rods in the gravel boards. And after listening to David, I learned that most contractors there in the UK only use 2, but David and Stevie use 3. Neighbor caused a change order. Did the neighbor pay? I think we've all been in scenarios like this, and I think we probably know the answer to that question. You make the change to make the neighbor happy because that makes your client happy, and happy clients make for happy fence contractors. But you're right. Build the house out of the blocks might be tornado and hurricane proof. That's probably not far off. Those are substantial blocks. Check it out. Fazo2. Much love from the UK. Hello, Fazo. What's that, Mace? They do. They do look like Legos. But we can't call them Legos. We learned that in the video where they said Daniel from Asheville, got in trouble for calling them Legos. They're not Legos. We absolutely understand. We are aware. Not Legos. They're not even made out of plastic. But they are Lego-like. I think that's the workaround. Lego-like. David, you're very welcome. You guys have a great channel. I'm not kidding. Like, it's from a guy that makes YouTube content. I absolutely understand what goes into making one of these videos. You guys have tremendous content, great production value. I like watching it a lot. I mean, thank you guys for putting it out there. I don't even know how I came across it. It's one of those YouTube mysteries where I was like, oh, another fence guy. I'm going to watch that. I'm like, oh, a father and son, and it's well done, and they're funny. I'm going to be watching that. Subscribe and ring the bell. That fencing deck from D&J was impressive. My wife is in love with it. Well, Billy, now all you got to do is hire him to come in from the UK. So that's probably going to be a bit spendy. And they would do that for you too, I bet. But yeah, no, it is good work. Like I said, please go check the channel out. All right. What did we say we were going to talk about? We're going to talk about insurance. We already talked about, guys, if you're taking on additional inventory to try to hedge against the increased cost of lumber. We saw the lumber commodities rise here in the States last week. They hit a 52-week high last week. So if you're hedging against that by ordering lumber at current prices, make sure that your insurance coverage, your coverage on inventory assets is enough to one, cover the material you ordered, but also cover the increase that you're expecting these costs. I mean, the increased cost it would be to replace that inventory, because God forbid something happens, now you got to replace it. It doesn't matter that you paid whatever you paid for these boards. Now you got to replace them. If you bought them, random numbers. If you bought these things for $3.25, but you got to replace them, after this spike hits, if you have to replace them at $3.75, who makes up the difference, right? So make sure that your insurance is at a level that's high enough that will cover the replacement cost of that inventory should something happen. All right, we had another suggestion for a video up here. Guys, if you got questions, drop them in the comments below. This is the live Ask Me Anything where you guys steer the ship. So if you got questions, business, fencing related, drop them in the comments below. Also, if you guys haven't said hello, say hello in the comments so we know you're here. Let us know where you're from. All right. So this was it. YouTube converting my chain link fence to a stone wall. Sounds like we're in for a treat here after the Baja. All right. Oh. So we are going to go over here. And we're going to search for, what was it? Converting my chain link fence. See what we got. Is that right? To a stone wall. Okay, found it. All right, let's do this. That was weird. That all right. So we've got it here. Converting my chain link fence to a stone wall. Haven't watched it. Don't know what we're looking at here, but here we go. Yes, unmute. Mic 1, please. Production assistant.
Get leaf filter and end gutter cleaning for life. Our professional teams.
Fish and Pickens right. We got to sign up for YouTube Premium.
Chain link fence behind my house.
So obviously, right off the bat, we realize this was filmed a little while ago.
That I want to convert into a solid wall. So this project is going to involve converting this into a wall that looks like stone. The intent will be to make the chain link fence in the backyard reflect and resemble this stone wall.
So they have fencing that looks like stone walls, right? Simtech comes to mind, but this guy's, I think he's probably going for the actual stone look
that I made for my front porch. This was done by building a wood frame, putting up concrete backer board, then covering it with expanded metal lath, and then finally scratch coating, and then finish coating, dividing it up into stone-shaped pieces, texturing with a sea sponge, and just covering this fence with concrete to make it into a rock wall.
Trying to get my eyes out of the light here. I'm looking right at the monitor that's got a couple lights over it.
I'm allowed to put 6-foot fence out here. Right now, this chain link fence is 4 feet tall.
So that's standard. Sounds like his area, 4 foot's kind of the standard chain link height. 6 foot's the maximum allowed for privacy fence.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach rebar to the existing post and extend it up another 24 inches. I'm actually going to extend it with 22 inches of rebar, figuring about a 2-inch cap to put on top. And I want to extend this so it's nice and level. I've already got rebar attached to a post down there, another down at the end here, and I'm going to string a line along here. I've marked these rebar with some tape 10 inches down from the top so I can run a string up along here, line these up to the proper height, and then wire these tightly.
All right, let's skip ahead here a little bit.
4 inches above the existing fence in this post. The inside of the chain link fence, then we'll fill this.
So, I was thinking.
I've been looking at mattresses online.
The ones that come in a box?
No, a Satva. The rest make too many
side with concrete. It'll ooze through, make a good solid base for concrete to be put on from the outside as well.
So, first impression here is that the posts are residential grade chain link. They're not made to hold a ton of weight, right? So, because think about it. So, chain link fence inherently it's not going to be really heavy. Now, if you live further north where you get a lot of snow and ice accumulation, weight can add up, but they're not made to hold a lot of weight. I think you're right. Time lapse is your friend.
Be a lot easier to do this one. You can see the scratch coat on the inside. Makes lots of little bumps that makes it real easy for the outside coat to adhere to. Now with the other side hardened, it gives us a much stiffer wall to deal with. So we can actually take this mix now and we can actually throw it against the wall. We tried to do this on the other side. The fence would have
David, just to be clear, this is not how we build fence here in the States.
bounced and thrown the material off. I can just throw some of that on there. Coat of stamping concrete on here, and just do concrete stamps. I like to do these rocks individually. First thing I do is just wet the base coat. You can also paint this with some more acrylic. Haven't found it really necessary, but it is a good idea to get some liquid on here. And it's also a good idea to start from the top and work down. The basic principle here, what you could do if you wanted. This would be a matter of taste, what you like. It's the same technique I used up front on my front porch. There you are. The stones that we've been working on. One of the things that I found as I extended these posts up a little higher is that and I add concrete to the fence, it tends to raise the center of gravity and makes these a little less stable.
Yeah, because the posts were made to hold up a 4-foot chain link it wasn't a top heavy fence, right? So, I mean, it stands to reason you put something this heavy on it, and like to his point, you raise the center of gravity.
Fence is easy to shake, so I have a solution I found to that. Need to give a little more lateral support to the fence. I can only do this on one side. If you could do it on both sides, it'll make it even stronger. But basically, I'll show you what I did. I dig a hole about 6 inches.
So that's what I was wondering. I was wondering if it would have been more sturdy if he had poured like, a foundation footer underneath the fence. I mean, obviously you couldn't do it around the post, but the posts are already set. So if he had dug, a foundation footer underneath the fence and made it more sturdy, I could see that.
Inches or so deep. I'm going to fill that with concrete, and then I'm going to use a bent piece of rebar that's bent in an L shape. It'll be embedded in the concrete in the ground, and also be embedded in the concrete that goes around the post. So that gives a great deal more rigidity to the whole thing.
Powerful devices need powerful internet. Go full speed with Extreme Internet, starting at $19.
I mean, it's a great concept. Execution, but, notwithstanding, it's a good concept. My thinking is, if he had actually poured a foundation footer underneath with this rebar every 10 inches, I think it would add quite a bit of support to it.
After adding the concrete supports, you can see that the fence is much more stable now than what it was before. The pillar extensions that I've made to raise the height of my fence, made to look like stone posts, and I've incorporated some slots in them, and the slots are to
that does look familiar from what we just saw.
Allow me to slide in plastic lattice panels. So then I can get some vines growing and train them to grow in the lattice. Still giving me a visual block, and yet allowing more air to pass through to the backyard. So how do I go about making that extension? Well, we've already seen how I attach two of them on this side.
So keep in mind, he's got rebar, and it looked like a pretty substantial piece of rebar in the center of that, attached to the fence post. So, yeah, I mean, I think it's a great concept. It looks really nice. Now, how long did it take him to make it? Probably quite a while. What was the cost? If you figure the cost of the fence plus all of his time and the material, probably fairly expensive. I want to back up here, though. He did kind of an overall shot with a really nice detail in it. That's nice. As far as a detailed, customized look, that looks cool. Could it have been done differently? Sure, absolutely. But guys, there's always, like I used to have an intro on all my videos that basically just said, there's always more than one way to build a fence. This is simply our way, right? So, could it have been done better? Yes, absolutely. Is it a long-term solution? I don't know. I mean, it's going to depend on how well those posts were set, what gauge the posts were, how heavy the posts were. They probably were something, I don't know, like a 16 gauge, like an 055, maybe an 065, a 17 gauge. But I don't know. If he'd poured a foundation footer underneath it to give it more support, more strength, possibly. I see some comments popping up. We'll go through here. I feel you. That's how I started out with this video. It's like, what are we doing here? I don't think we'll be having him on for an interview. Yeah, so that was absolutely my first impression. So these comments all came in kind of right at the beginning. Yeah, I don't think this is the best method to get to this end result. Yep. I agree. This picture for sure. I mean, it is a nice look. It really is. Is it a long-term solution? Probably not. I agree. Yeah, if he had just taken the fence out, started from scratch, with a nice foundation wall, maybe some block in the middle of it, tied together, it could have been done better. Absolutely 100%. But it looks nice. Roger says, I think if you would have just set heavier gauge posts between the existing line posts at the desired height, it would be feasible. Yeah, I can see that. If he had set, like a Schedule 20, Schedule 40 post, if, I don't know, I hate to say like if I was going to do it, because if I was going to do it, to David's point, I would have just ripped it out and started over. But, so if you tell me I can't remove the fence, but I have to install this wall, I think you're right, Roger. I think setting heavier wall posts like a CS20, CS40, Schedule 20, Schedule 40, something like that. 20 weight or 40 weight. 40 weight probably preferred. I think he would have been better suited at it. During part 2, he makes a concrete gate and stains the concrete. Part 2 of converting my chain link fence to stone wall. Yeah, I don't know. I appreciate you bringing it to our attention. Like, it is a fun watch. I don't know. I mean, but this is kind of like what you see in the DIY world, right? And guys, I don't know. There's a lot of negativity out there on Facebook and YouTube, and I don't want to start taking negative negative stances on videos. So here's the thing. So we did a review video on the Scott Brown fence install down in Australia where the concrete got way out of control, right? There was excessive concrete spill. It looked in my review on the video it skewed negative, right? And that didn't feel good. Like as I go back and watch it, like that doesn't feel good to put out negativity into the world. So Jeremy and I and Will, our YouTube coach, we kind of regrouped and powwowed and came to the decision that we're not, reaffirmed we're not making negative reviews. I'm not here to tear people down. Everyone does the best they can with what they have, right? So that's why, like I said, we just reaffirmed we're only doing positive reviews. Like the video we watched before of D&J. Those guys are up to good work. We like to keep our reviews positive. Similar to the review we did of April Wilkerson's horizontal, we did part 1. Part 2, I believe, is coming out maybe next week, possibly the week after. She did a great job building a fence. Now, she's a carpenter. She has an incredible amount of tools. I understand that. The fence turned out really well. So after watching D&J's content, I also told Jeremy and Will that we need to put some of their videos on our review calendar. I'd like to share them with the world, not just here on live. I mean, you guys, I enjoy giving you guys a sneak peek of the content we're producing. But I want to share it with the world because I think it's great content. The guys are doing really well. Their channel is going to grow incredibly fast. So, I mean, pretty soon you're going to see their channel is going to be huge. And give it 6 months, they'll probably be at 25,000, 30,000 subscribers. They're growing incredibly fast. Get in early on subscribing with the channel, but we'll be reviewing their content as well. So, guys, if you're new here, if you haven't said hello, drop a comment below. Let me know you're here by saying hi. Also, let me know where you're from. We've got some Texas folks, some Florida folks, some Ohio folks, some United Kingdom guys. Thank you so much. Guys from here, there, and everywhere. So let me know you're here. Let me know where you're from. Also, hit the like button. Whether you're watching on YouTube or on Facebook, the like button is available. Only 2 people have liked it. Let me see who they are. Michael Hobman and Mitchell Gregory have both liked it. Go ahead and like the content, and that let's everyone else know that I'm putting good content out there. Honestly, full disclosure, it helps the algorithm know that people are watching and people like the content. It helps me out. Sean King's here. He's back. Welcome back, Sean King. So Sean's actually going to be on next week. So Sean and I are doing an interview next week where I want to talk about growing a contracting business, right? So Sean and I had a conversation Wednesday evening where I called and I said, hey, I'd like you to come on next week. I've got something on my mind. So we talk a lot about getting guys, taking off the tool belt, or as Sean says, getting out of the driver's seat, right? Putting another guy in that seat so that it frees you up to actually run your business. But my question is, we don't talk about what to do after that, right? How to scale that. We talk about it's important to get out of the truck, to take off the tool belt, run your business instead of building the fence, right? Don't let your business run you, whatever you want to say, you get it. But how do we scale beyond that, right? We're at that point now to where we need to be scaling. We need to talk about having, field supervisors, non-site supervisors. We need to talk about scaling what we call our customer experience team, what other companies might call a sales team, what that looks like, what it looks like to grow that team and grow a business. Sean and I are going to be talking about that next week. I am super excited. Guys, typically my interviews with most of my guests go, me taking notes and me learning. And I bring you guys into the conversation as well, because this is a conversation that I am super excited to have. And basically what I told Sean, I said, hey, listen, now this is something that I'm going through in my business. I would absolutely hire you as a consultant to help me grow through this. But I think that my followers, my group here, my tribe, if you will, can also get benefit out of this conversation. So I'd love to have you on to talk about that. And of course, Sean being Sean, he said, absolutely, I'll be available. He's going to be on vacation. He's coming to us live from vacation next week. He's going to be down in Florida for a wedding. Getting ready to go build a gate into an existing wood fence using your brand new brace. I am excited to see what you do with this, Sean. Hey, Sean, really quick. We had a question. Let me scroll up to it. Primescape Construction said we don't install a lot of vinyl fence. We're not efficient at it. But they have 1,500 foot to build. And they're looking at Mr. Fence Sure Set Echo to speed up the process. Do you have video content on? I'm not familiar with this with the Sure Set Echo. Do you have video? Do you have any videos you'd recommend for how to use that particular? I'm not sure if it's a product or a system. So the brace he's using is called the De-Warper. That's an interesting thought. So when we're talking about gate repairs, typically they're warped or twisted. Sometimes they're settling. Typically they're warped or twisted. So if there is a product called the De-Warper, that absolutely sounds worthwhile. Sean says they need to use the marker cable. Absolutely. So not the Sure Set on that longer stretch. Okay, that makes sense. So it's a longer stretch, so you would want to use the marker cable. Head on over to Mr. Fence. Check out. I know he's got a ton of video content out there. Of course, if you don't see the content that you like, shoot him a message. This is what I'm looking for. Sean is always incredibly responsive with his video content, and letting him know that that's what you need would also help him produce content for other people looking for those tools. But check out the marker cable on something that's that long of a stretch. Gotcha. So the Sure Set tool wouldn't be the best fit for that long of a line. Oh, check it out. Give him a call. 812-760-6845. 6845. Give him a call. So Sean is, I tell you what, Sean's good people. So Sean, thank you. Appreciate you tuning in. Best of luck on your gate. So it's a gate brace. It's made by Mr. Fence called the De-Warper. Can't wait to see that. Guys, here's the thing about Sean. He's one of these guys that takes action almost immediately. So when you look at his tools, you can absolutely understand exactly where they came from, right? There are tools where as soon as you use it, you go, yep, I know exactly why this is made. This solves a problem I've been having. So we did a video a few weeks ago with a tool they have called the Equalizer. And as soon I've seen it used, I saw it used at the Mr. Fence installation school there in Nashville. As soon as I've seen it in the past, but as soon as I saw it in person, guys, this makes so much sense. Need to share it. So we did a video. That video, I want to say it's scheduled in the next couple of weeks. I don't have the calendar. We need to have a production calendar in here. Don't have the calendar in front of me, but check out Mr. Fence. If you guys are fence contractors, check out Mr. Fence Tools. He's got good stuff. I'm not affiliated. I don't get paid. I do use the tools because I think they're well made and they absolutely make sense. All right. Yep. Sean says we'll be shooting a video Equalizer challenge. So you want to hit that number one, Mike? Or yeah, no, never mind. Yep, you got it. It was already done. I just thought about that. Anyway. So Equalizer challenge. So check out, Sean, where would they find the video of, because I know you shot a video and I know it's in the Fence Facebook groups. But you did a challenge with the Equalizer where so he had a team of guys or a couple guys use the Equalizer or they used the string method, then they used the Equalizer, and it shaved an incredible amount of time off their set. Okay. So it's up on YouTube. Search Equalizer challenge. You know what? Let's do it together. Let's just do it. If I can find my mouse, there's my mouse. It is a very small monitor. I've got a very small monitor just right here below the camera, which is where I see what the picture-in-picture content is going to look like. And it is incredibly small. It's like 8 inches or so. What are you doing? And then they can't see it. Oh, okay. So it's approximately, Macy's going to show us approximately how big it is. Oh, you lost it. You lost the measurement. You lost the measurement. It's lost. What are you doing? This is the size of the monitor. It is pretty small. It is pretty small. But you do what you can with what you got here, people. This is not like a full-blown production facility. We had a monitor. We hooked it up. All right, let's search Equalizer Challenge. Uh-oh. The problem is there's a movie called The Equalizer. So let's go to Mr. Fence. Equalizer. There we go. Oh, well, you know. I think we know this guy. All right. Macy with the running commentary off screen. I think we know that fellow. Both those fellows. Let's maximize this.
Be honest, do you really want to watch a video that looks like this? There's a good reason why presenters use images and visualizations while they talk, because it's what makes people pay attention. With a doodly animation, your audience will pay much more attention than just you speaking to a...
We're going to do the Equalizer Challenge, okay? So what we're going to do is we're going to find 2 people out here willing to participate. There's 2 marks on the ground. We want to mark out wood posts from orange mark to orange mark, so they're all equally spaced on the ground, and get this set up to dig. That means mark it on the ground, get the string lined up, get ready to dig. Same time. So we're going to try the equalizer. I'll do the equalizer, set it up. Then we'll have 2 guys challenge me and see if they can mark it out faster. Ready to go.
We need to stop building fence like Granddad and start building fence like our kids will need to in the future.
This is Mr. Fence Tools. All right, so these 2 guys are willing to challenge me in the Equalizer Challenge. So we got Tallahassee, Florida, and Georgia, and they're being great sports about this right now. Okay, here's what we're going to do. I might have a slight advantage because I have an idea what's getting ready to happen. But there's 2 orange marks on the ground. I don't know the distance from the marks. They got to determine the distance, figure out the spacing, and mark that out. The goal is to have an X on the ground or some type of indicator so you know where to dig, okay? And have your string lined up ready to dig or ready to set posts.
And post set equally.
And all, no remainder. So the goal is I want you to be as close as possible to having your markings on the ground spaced out. To be fair, we're going to get 300-foot tape and a string line and a tape measure. Okay, and that you can use your phones, calculators, whatever you want to do, right? Just can't use it until we say go. I'm going to use it against them. And when I'm done, I'll let you use it and see how much faster it was for you. Fair enough? Does that make sense? All right, ready? You guys ready? Go. Orange mark to orange mark.
So in that time, Sean has that fence line completely laid out. That's the difference in that equalizer tool. That's the difference between the equalizer tool and laying it out by hand. It is once you use it, once you put it in your hands and use it, it makes so much sense.
Second.
Pennies make babies.
Oh, the screen came off.
Come on, Mark, I believe in you. Yes! I love the streamline technique you just used. These guys are doing it just like most of you do it, right? Is this too far up? This is really like it's normally done, right? Okay. You guys done? Time.
2 minutes, 50 seconds. Your time, 29 seconds.
All right. And hold on. Is it accurate?
No, it's close. Not as accurate as yours.
Actually, I would challenge you to say you're way off. You have a whole extra section in there, guys. And we're not going to stop there because you give these guys a chance to beat my time of 29 seconds with the equalizer. Is that fair? All right. Let's just see how much faster they are. They've never used the equalizer. So just so you show I'm not making any tricks. Okay? This is the first time they've ever used the equalizer. Let's see how long it takes a person that's never used it, right? Because that would make sense. Like if you bought it for your team and never used it, how long is it going to take? Because if it takes 2.5 minutes, we're going to not saving much, right? But then again, there was 2 of you, so it would be 5 minutes. So you need to beat 5 minutes. Yep. And then let one tag out of your hand at a time. Walk the other end.
You didn't run now, so I'm not going to run.
Don't run. No, I'm just walking. 29 seconds. They got to beat 5 minutes because they just took 2 guys 2.5 minutes, right? Okay. You ready, Mike? Ready? Set. Go. Time. 34 seconds your first time. What's the math on that? How much faster is that?
So that's the power. That's one of the powerful aspects of this tool is you saw the spread be from Sean, who invented the tool, who uses it, his crews use it day in, day out, 29 seconds to, I just forgot the time.
On that. How much faster is that? We went from 5 minutes to 34 seconds.
34 seconds. So the spread from expert to complete novice is 29 seconds to 34 seconds. So someone that's never done it before can lay out a line in 34 seconds. I think that's incredible.
That's like dollar bills, y'all. Right? Every day on every single line of fence. If you're not using this, just show me what you're doing that's faster than that. Please.
So it took 2 guys 2.5 minutes using string line, measuring everything out. And one point that Sean made earlier that he didn't circle back around on is they also had an extra section in there. So they used an entire additional section worth of material over using the equalizer tool. So then 34 seconds, they were spot on even sections. And that's the next thing too, also, is it's equal sections. You're not using the remainder. You're not using feathering.
Don't ever post it.
You do it.
Wait.
You say, hey guys,
Oh, no.
if you found this content educational, helpful, heck, even a little bit entertaining, go ahead and give it a like. And if you're new here, please consider subscribing. And when you do, hit the notification bell, set notifications to all, so that YouTube lets you know when I have new content uploaded and ready.
I've done a lot of talking that weekend.
Woo! There it is. It goes kind of like that. Say it about 100 times, then you'll get it.
Give this a like, and then I want you to subscribe. I want you to hit that bell, and then set it to all.
Yep.
So that when all my content comes out, you get notified of all of it. That was almost as good as he does. That was as close to.
That's probably way better than my first time saying it. So
That was actually as close to those guys using the tape measure and me using the equalizer. We almost were about the same, were we? I think it's the same difference here.
So check out that channel as well. So far today in the channel recommendations, we've got D&J Projects, also Mr. Fence Tools. But, guys, also, guess what? I figured out, again, fence guy, not a tech guy, but I figured out how on my channel you guys can see what channels I support. So, all right, let's figure out how to get there. Your channel. So if you guys go to channels, so this is my page. Go to channels. Boom. What do you know? You got a list of channels that I like watching that you guys would likely like to watch as well. We got SWI Fence and Supply Powell, so Mr. Mark Olson. Now, I didn't put these in order, so I'm kind of confused on how I decided the order of these. But Mr. Fence Tools, Mr. Fence Academy, DJ Projects, David and Stevie, Successful Contractors, Mark Olson again, Contractor Fight TV. You guys likely saw the live and the recorded content I did with Tom Reber. That's his channel. Fence Armor. You guys probably saw my live with Fence Armor there, and Post Saver Products, the same company. Then we got Stain and Seal Experts and Stain and Seal of Fort Worth. Guys, check the channels out. Like I said, it's as easy as going to my YouTube channel, Joe Everest Defense Expert, clicking on channels, and then you can subscribe directly from here if you're not already subscribed. Click on the channel. As easy as clicking there. Takes you right to their channel, directly to their videos. So, easy peasy. It's a great way to check out other channels. I think all of these channels are up to great work, for sure. Let's catch up on the comments. JJ says, I'm interested in seeing how much it speeds up setting 8 foot on center. I think it's splitting hairs on setup time, but maybe a game changer on setting. Well, so I don't know if it's splitting hairs on setup time, though. So you saw two guys that were experienced fence builders lay out that line. I have no idea what the length was, but lay out that line in about 2.5 minutes as far as set the string line, measure the sections out, get them painted up and everything. With the equalizer tool, it went from two guys, 2.5 minutes, so 5 minutes total man time, right? Man minutes instead of man hours, to one person, 34 seconds. So I don't know that it's splitting hairs. It's a good tool. Like I said, I don't get paid for it. So we've got one that I bought, and then full transparency, I showed Sean, I video chatted Sean when we were doing the video. He's like, "What? You have version 1 of the equalizer. Let me send you version 2." So full transparency, I paid for the first one. Sean sent me a new one. So, but I don't get paid. I'm not an affiliate. I just think they're really good tools that make a lot of sense. Jacob, welcome. Jacob Crosby, welcome to the channel. Primescape, you're very welcome. Right? Yeah, the guy in the orange looked a little bit familiar for sure. That was back from the training event we did in Nashville. Gosh, when was that? Was that February? I think it was. February, March. We were all in Nashville for the fence installation school for Stain and Seal University. So the fence installation school and Stain and Seal University, same property, different days. And then also Sean had his group, the Mr. Fence Academy there, went and spoke with them one evening there. Had a great evening hanging out with those guys. Anyway, we're all in Nashville learning about fence. It was the weekend that was supposed to be Fence Tech. So a lot of fence guys already had it in their calendar, already had hotel rooms booked, had their travel planned. So Sean took the initiative. Sean and Caleb both took the initiative and went ahead and scheduled universities or training schools for that weekend. Sean, you're very welcome. So that's a good point. Yeah. So if you're setting vinyl, or I guess aluminum is going to be 6 foot on centers, steel. If you're working with 8 foot centers, the marker cable is going to be better for 8 foot centers. So the equalizer, the great thing about equalizer is it's on basically like an industrial commercial grade bungee. So your two markers are going to stretch out depending on how many sections you have. So if you have to be right on 8 foot centers, the stretchiness is actually not going to be in your favor. Go ahead and use the marker tool. The marker tool is on cable to where it can't be stretched. When it says 8 foot on centers, you will be 8 foot on centers. Laymark Creations has the equalizer tool as well. Very good. And it's very fast, especially for residential jobs. Yeah. So that is our plan, is to start taking Mr. Fence tools and incorporating them into our fence crews and watching the efficiencies go through the roof. JJ says, my first one came in the mail this past week. I'll check back after I field test it next week. Let us know how it goes. I kind of know how it's going to go because, like I said, we just shot a video on it a couple weeks ago. It's going to go pretty well. I was really impressed with it. I'd seen it on the videos, and then I saw it on person. But the first time I used it myself, I was even more impressed. Once you get it in your hands, it's a game changer. It really is. All right, guys, so we're at 2 hours. We've got half an hour left. Actually, we're at 2 hours, 9 minutes, 37 seconds. We've got a little bit of time left today. All right. This week's video is going to be a repost. The video that I'm putting up this afternoon is going to be a re-upload. And rather than me take a bunch of time to explain it to you, I'm going to play the first part of the video. It'll explain it to you, and then we'll circle back around. And and I'll do any follow-up explanations that are needed. All right. How do we find? We go your channel. We go YouTube Studio. Macy's right. This monitor is very small. Makes older guys with bad eyes and makes it a little bit harder to listen. She said, "I'm actually right, Dad." Any of you dads ever hear anything like that before? Okay. Mic 1, live. We're going to go auto. We're going to go boom. All right. Lights, camera, action. That's right. All right. So I'm going to play this. I'm going to play the intro to this. And then if you guys have any questions, we can certainly answer them after this is done. If you guys want to watch the rest of the video in its entirety, we can do that as well. All right. Become much better acquainted with the fair use doctrine after our channel was issued a DMCA takedown. All the way from the beginning. Recently had to become much better acquainted with the fair use doctrine after our channel was issued a DMCA takedown notice. So it's fun. Actually, we get to watch this one kind of together. So what happens is I'll record these and then I'll send. Actually, Jeremy is sitting kind of where Macy's sitting now. So I just sat here and recorded it real quick. Jeremy took out, and then Jeremy does the edits. Jeremy does first edit. Will does final edit. And so I actually haven't seen this fully edited yet. For one of our review videos. Here's what happened. On February the 10th, I uploaded a video where I reviewed the installation of a horizontal privacy fence by Home Renovision DIY. On March the 2nd, I received a copyright takedown notice from YouTube saying that Michelle Thorman, who is associated with Home Renovision DIY, I believe she's Jeff's wife, had issued a copyright takedown notice saying that we had illegally used their copyrighted material and that YouTube had to take it down immediately. And they did. The email from YouTube was very clear that the video was taken down immediately. And if they received more copyright strikes, our channel as a whole could be removed. Needless to say, slight panic ensued. I reviewed the fair use doctrine within the DMCA, confirming that the video did in fact meet their guidelines. I then emailed Home Renovision DIY directly via the email address provided on their YouTube page. I tried to resolve this directly. After about a week of not hearing back from Jeff or Michelle at Home Renovision DIY, I had to file a legal counter notice with YouTube, letting them know that yes, this video does in fact meet the fair use doctrine within the DMCA, and that the video should be reinstated. The process then goes that YouTube waits 10 to 14 days to see if Home Renovision DIY were going to file a federal lawsuit in U.S. federal courts to permanently remove the video, which they didn't. After that waiting period. So the U.S. federal courts part here is important. So one part I skipped over was that Home Renovision DIY is based out of Canada. They're Canadian content creators. But the legal action would have had to take place in my jurisdiction, which would have been here in the United States. Not sure which circuit covers Missouri in the Midwest, but it would have had to happen, here in Missouri. Actually, there's a federal courthouse right down the street, so it probably would have had to happen there. And the lack of a federal lawsuit, YouTube then reinstated the video. Unfortunately, at that point, the damage had already been done. The video had been taken down for almost a month. And since then, the video simply hasn't performed very well. So we're uploading the video. So I should have been a little bit more specific than that. So the video went from, something like 8,000 or 9,000 views a day to about 200 views a day. So what we think happened on our end was the algorithm, which, it's a person. The YouTube algorithm is not a person. It's a thing, right? It's a computer program. It saw that the video flatlined. It didn't get any views for something like 26 days, the majority of a month. And it determined that no one wants to watch this video. Well, it's not that no one wanted to watch it. It's that YouTube wouldn't allow anyone to watch it, right? So since then, like I said, it's gotten a couple hundred views a day where it was thousands of views a day. Should have expanded on that a little bit more. Video in its entirety with this quick explainer beforehand to let you guys know why it's getting re-uploaded, and what exactly happened. Why Homer Division DIY tried to take down the video and almost take down our channel. So without further ado, here's the video in its entirety. What is up, everybody? And then it goes on to show that video. It's crazy how much people's looks change. That was, well, what did I say, February? A few months ago. All right. So that's going to be the deal, guys. So it's going to be a re-upload. So if you guys follow the channel, watch the content often, it's going to be a repeat of what you've already done. So the video was just where I reviewed. He built a horizontal fence with the camo screw system. Now, one thing too that we're kind of figuring out is that so Jeff did another video building a fence that we will be reviewing shortly. Where so he has a fair amount of paid content in his videos that he doesn't call out. So on this one, I think this one was probably sponsored content by Camo, just a system of the installation system for it's made for decks, but he used it for fence. Anyway, if you guys already watched the video, I apologize. We're re-uploading it, but when you see a video go from thousands of views a day to a couple hundred views a day, you need to do something to get that video back in the algorithm. So, following YouTube's guidance, following their recommendations, we put that disclaimer we put that explainer on the beginning. I'm just saying, hey, here's what happened, so that it is an original piece of content. Re-uploading it actually right after we get done here this afternoon. It's actually uploaded. Obviously, we already watched it, but then we're going to make it public. I say we a lot. I'm going to make it public. I know. I do say we a lot. My dad used to always ask me, you got a mouse in your, my dad got it from my granddad. You got a mouse in your pocket? What's all this we business? I don't know. Roger's got a point. He says, I'm starting to get tired of snowflakes, knee-jerk reaction to life, and lawyers responding. Not representing law, but simply reacting. Very immature and counterproductive. Agreed. On a lot of levels, Roger. Agreed with that for sure. So here's the scenario. And in the email that I sent them, basically I said, I just want the video put up. Legally, we could sue. We being my YouTube channel. Again, mouse in my pocket and all that. Legally, I could sue. Because, so we created the video under the Fair Use Doctrine within the DMCA, which is the Digital Millennium Copyright Act. It basically is the document here in the United States that protects copyrighted. It's not here in the United States. It's a international doctrine. Anyway, protects copyrighted materials, right? There is a fair use doctrine that we created our video based on the guidelines, and it meets the guidelines because I give running commentary throughout the video, just like what we did earlier with D&J's, just like we did earlier with Sean, just like we did earlier with the other video about the stone. Running commentary throughout a video makes it fair use. It's me providing educational content, me giving a running commentary. It doesn't even need to be educational. The running commentary makes it applicable under the fair use doctrine. So there's case law with this. There's case law. I forget the lady's name. There's Lady V Universal. So this lady created a video of her daughter, I believe, doing a dance. She had a young daughter, and the daughter was doing a dance, and she created a video. What any parent does. I create tons of video of my kids doing silly stuff. And she put it online, or she put it on YouTube. And it went viral. People love watching kids dancing around. I do. I watch it. But Universal owned, there was like a song in the background. There's something, Universal had something to do with it. There's a song in the background, or there's a logo on a shirt, something. Universal stepped in, issued a DMCA takedown notice. So when someone issues a DMCA takedown notice, whoever the channel that gets served with that notice, whether it's YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, any one of these platforms, when they get served with a DMCA takedown notice, it has to be taken down immediately. They have to assume that all the evidence was reviewed, that there was a process involved before filing this. They have to assume that this legal document is accurate. They don't represent the law. They're not lawyers, right? They're not a judge. So they take it down immediately. And then the content creator on the other side of that DMCA notice, the one that did the reaction video or the lady that did the video, now the burden of proof is on them to say, no, I did create, a video, yes, but it is fair use based on X, Y, and Z. Well, the problem here is, so she ended up taking them to court. She filed a federal lawsuit against Universal saying that they did not conduct a fair use analysis. And the appellate court agreed. The appellate court said that Universal, there was no fair use review process employed by Universal. They simply just threw out DMCA takedown notices and they would see if they would stick, which isn't legal. They're supposed to conduct a fair use analysis. So this lady won her lawsuit, B, won a significant amount of money in that lawsuit because she was able to prove here is the negative repercussions of you taking this video away. I created the video free and clear legally. You had the video taken down illegally. I am due damages. And they awarded her some pretty significant damages. Could we have done that? Yes. But I just want the video up. That's all I wanted. So I sent Jeff an email directly. Well, I say directly via the email on their website. Didn't hear back. Filed the counter notice. It took YouTube something like 12 days to see if Home Renovation DIY responded. And at that point, they reinstated it. So, yeah, I agree. I'm not a big fan of knee-jerk reactions, including lawyers. So we didn't file a lawsuit. We could have filed a lawsuit in federal court in whichever appellate court is in our region, saying, hey, we had damages, right? We had this many thousands of views a day, which, in ad revenue does represent some monetary value, not huge, but some. And by taking this video down illegally, by not running a fair use process, if Home Renovation DIY, Jeff or his wife had run had conducted any sort of fair use analysis, they would have realized this meets the guidelines, right? They sent it out to see if it would stick. So we could have been awarded damages, but to your point, Roger, I don't like knee-jerk reactions that involve lawyers. So I simply filed the counter notice and I let it go back up, but it didn't perform. So we're re-uploading it. Loya, you're very welcome. Hey, that's what we're trying to do, right? That's what we're all here. Whether it's me, whether it's Mark Olson with Successful Contractor or SWI, whether it's Sean King with Mr. Fence, like that's what we're here to do, right? We're here to try to help other small businesses avoid potholes that we may have found ourselves in, help them, get further on in their contracting careers. So that's absolutely what this channel is about. That's absolutely, I mean, there's several channels. I don't want to make it sound like this is the only channel. There's lots of us out there that are trying to do that, but I appreciate the feedback. It helps me know that this content's being helpful. It's not just me and Macy hanging out here talking to a camera for a little bit. So next week's content is probably geared at a small fence company that's going to grow into a mid-sized fence contractor that's going to grow into a larger contractor. So I think we're on the small side of a medium contractor. I think this year we'll do $2.5 million in top line revenue. That's top line. That's just sales, right? So I feel like we're on the smaller side of a mid-sized fence contractor, or we're wanting to grow, right? Because what we found is as we continue to grow, we can help more people. That's what we're here for, right? We can bring more team members onto the team. We can help support the team members. We can help support their families. We can be more helpful, and we can help more clients. So we're wanting to grow. That's what Sean and I are going to talk about next week is what steps he took to grow his business even larger and what pitfalls he found that we can avoid. Mark has a current video on this topic. Yeah, so Mark and I talked about that particular video while he was here. That's, yeah. So there is this issue, and it's not just here in the States, I'm sure. I'm sure it's everywhere, where those at the top of the mountain like to stay at the top of the mountain. They don't like anyone else coming up to share the top of the mountain. They don't want to see anyone else start climbing up the mountain. They want everyone to stay at the bottom. So what you see is these large corporations that have teams of lawyers single out others that might not speak favorably about them, right? Or that might be trying to climb up that mountain themselves. Whether you've got Mark and what do you call it? The spooky gate controller company, or just anything like that. Here's the thing: the market is big enough for everyone, right? And if you put out a bad product or a product that doesn't work as advertised, you should be allowed to talk about it. Part of free speech. Now, we're not talking about slander. We're not talking about defamation. We're talking about free speech. Open and honest, opinions are absolutely valid, right? I mean, we should be allowed to talk about what our experience has been with a given product. So we had this issue come up, a similar issue come up with a post foam video we did in the beginning with Sika. They did not like the fact that the video did not go favorably for them, but it was a fair video, right? We've got all the video, we've got all the raw video footage that showed how we used it, that we followed the directions, and basically, the whole process. This wasn't an editing trick that we used to make the product look bad. My point to them was, hey guys, it would be more favorable to me and my channel if your product did well. Like, that would be a better video. Like, the video at the end is like, oh, okay, well, it didn't work. Like, wah, wah, wah. All right, guys, well, we'll try it again next time. It would have been better for me, better for the video, better for this channel in general if the product had worked. Unfortunately, it didn't. Anyway, but big corporations don't like it when you don't speak well of their product. That's, it's not right. It's just how it is. Yeah. Spooky controls. That's exactly the one. So that's the thing, right? Part of this is these corporations would be better served if they just left it alone anyway, right? It's the whole don't poke the bear. Leave it be and let it be. But, and I'm sure part of this is done just by committee. Mark's situation could have started with the legal team that gets paid to create legal documents. They're like, you know what? We ought to send them a letter and just see if it works. The problem is, it didn't work. Not only did it not work, it backfired. Search SWI, check out their spooky controls video, and I think you'll get more of what we're talking about. I have a comment on our comparison video talking about how bad Sika is. Yeah, so, yep. I mean, we've done 2 videos with Sika, their Pro Select foam product, expanding foam product. The first one was them only, and it did not go well. And then there was another one where we compared them and ProSet, them and another product with concrete as a control, right? So we set 2 products in concrete, 2 in Sika, 2 in, I want to say it's ProSet or Pro. I don't. It's another expanding foam product. Anyway, so that we could say all three sets of posts. Each one of these products was set with 2 posts, 6 posts total. That way, we get the most variables possible out of the way. So we're not talking about 1 post per each. We're talking about 2 posts. That way we can replicate what we're seeing post to post. And we have concrete as a control to say these were all installed in the same soil, in the same conditions, in the same time frame, same scenario. Like, it's as close to a controlled test as you can do outdoors. And Mark saw it when he came by. The foam products just did not perform well. I mean, the 4 posts, the Sika and the other product. Now, the Sika is the worst product that out of these 3 that we use. The Sika performed the worst. The other foam product didn't perform well at all either. Now, the concrete posts are set solid. It's as you would expect out of a concrete set post. So, yeah, we haven't had good luck with them at all. Sorry, I was reading comments. So, okay, so the comment wasn't Mark's. It wasn't someone who used it and ended up going back to concrete. I can understand that. The posts that are out here that are wobbly, that just aren't firm or secure, they don't even have fencing on them. We haven't even gotten to the fence building videos we had planned with those posts. It's simply Postmaster steel posts standing straight up in the sky, not catching, and they're in a bit of a breezeway, I guess you would say. They're not even catching wind, which granted, how much wind can a Postmaster post catch? Not much. But anyway, it would perform a lot worse if we had actually built fence on it, which is why we never got to building a fence. We saw that there was an issue early on. I said, I want to see how this performs. Didn't perform well, so we never did build the fence. What are some things you have for the crew going to a job other than shop drawings, specs, materials already on site to prepare them for the job? So we're going to have the work order is going to have all the materials needed for the job itemized by product. So how many terminal posts, line posts, loop tops, dome top, whatever they're going to need is there. There's also going to be all the photos of the initial layout, the photos of the layout that we did when we met with the customer. We put the flags out. So they have the first version of the layout, the actual real world version of the layout when we meet with the client, lay everything out. Sometimes there's a video. So if something's tricky and a picture just isn't going to do it justice, we'll shoot a quick video. So we literally just take our phone. You're like, all right, guys. So as you're looking at this, there's this cutout here right around an irrigation control box or whatever it is. Be sure, do not fence over that. Please fence around it as you see in the flags. Or, I don't know what, if there's a comment that needs to go in the job file that can't be adequately relayed with a picture or a text entry into the job file, then we'll shoot a quick video. I really think that the material list, pictures of the layout, picture of the finished layout, the on-site real world layout, and then a video if there needs to be a clarification. Seems to work pretty well. That's how we do it. Other people will probably do it better. Roger says, the sad part is Sika makes great mastic and sealant products. Foam has no place in post setting. I'm inclined to agree with you, Roger. Sika is a brand that's well known for making quality products. So those that, in the comments, those that follow up disagreeing with my assessment usually say that. Sika is a great company. They make good products. How dare you say that the product doesn't work? My point is, I'm not saying the product worked. The video said, the real world testing of the product said the product didn't work. Now, Sika's response was that it was installed on a cooler day. I was wearing long sleeves, so it was probably, I wasn't wearing a jacket though. So it was probably 50s or 60s. And that it had rained the day before and it was misting that day. So the ground was wet. So it was cooler and the ground was wet. So it wasn't installed in ideal conditions. Well, no kidding. Like, I don't know where most people are installing fence, but it wasn't snowing and it wasn't 100 degrees. So for us, those are pretty ideal conditions. But yeah. So I'm sure they make great products that are other than expanding foam. I'm inclined to agree with you that foam doesn't have a place in post setting. Now, what took us down the road to look into foam? Well, it's a fact that expanding foam is used with utility poles. They're used by utility pole contractors, installers throughout the United States with great results. The only thing I can come up with is we're talking about much smaller batches when we're talking about fence post. So there must be something that has to do with the finished product that relates to the batch size or something to that effect. Does it work for utility poles? Absolutely. Does the product that's available to the retail consumer marketed towards fence posts work? My experience is no. Roger says Sika needs to put their big boy pants on. No one accept the product. said the product didn't work. Yeah, exactly. I mean, and I felt like that was the gist of the video. But, anyway, everybody's got lawyers these days. Guys, I'm going to wrap it up. I don't want to take us down that too negative of a road. I just wanted to explain why that video is getting re-uploaded here in about the next 15, 20 minutes. So you guys will see it live on the channel. If you guys would like to rewatch it, I'd appreciate that. That always helps the channel. Also, if you guys found this video helpful, give it a like. If you haven't subscribed, look down below there. And if it's not red, click subscribe, make it red. Or if it is red, click subscribe, and it won't be red. It'll be gray, actually. Click the bell, move notifications to all. That way YouTube lets you know each and every time we have new content available. Macy, come here. Let's say goodbye. I can see your straw the whole time, so you need to come say goodbye so people know why there's a yellow straw in the video. Do you know what I say when I log off? Nope. My own daughter, people. My own daughter. So, no, come here. Come here. Come. All right, so what we say, I'll say it, then you say it. Except for you put your name in there. All right, so what I say is, guys, everybody, I appreciate you watching. Joe, as you guys know, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert. And as I always say, no, I don't say that. See, you get me out of my groove. And then, guys, I'm Joe Everest, the fence expert, reminding you that good fences make good neighbors.
Yeah, I'm not going to move.
All right, say, I'm AC Everest.
Everest.
Reminding you that good fences make good neighbors. Check you guys later.